Happy Memorial Day, guys. I thought I would get on here and share something that I was thinking about with you guys. Um, a lot of people, especially coming from a small town, I come from a small town in Ohio, and I relocated to Charlotte, North Carolina in 2017. Um, a lot of people over the years have come to me and wondered, how did you move? I want to move, and it would be great to get out of this city. Or again, it could be any small city, any big city for that matter, just wanting to move, wanting to relocate, new start, fresh start. And it's like they the mind is saying they want to go, want to live better, do better, but it's so many things holding them back, right? So a little backstory of when I relocated. At the time, I had 3 children, and their ages were 14. I think my daughter was 10, and my youngest son was 6. No, he might have been, yeah, he was 6. So a lot of people would not have moved with children that young. And I probably wouldn't have, but my circumstances at the time actually forced me to have to move. But in hindsight, looking back, I can see where when I moved, everything got better. I won't say I wasn't a little nervous, but I'll just say that anything that I might have been worried about or nervous about, God had already had it figured out. So I'm saying this to the people who are like thinking about moving. Do it. It's now, I'm not saying be crazy and just pick up and move, especially if you have children and don't have any sort of plan. So like a couple things that helped me out when I moved to Charlotte is that kind of did a little bit of research. One, two of the places that I had in mind was going to be either Atlanta, Georgia, or Charlotte. It was out of those two. And when I thought about Georgia, so I grew up in Atlanta, and it was busy, but not like today. So I kind of thought about the fact that I do have young children. At the time, and probably even now, Atlanta was super overpopulated. And so I was like, nah. I said Charlotte. My cousin had said one time, because she lives here too, she said it has a big city feel, or it's a big city with a small town feel, is how she put it. So I said okay. So I said Charlotte would be it. So I come down. Okay, let me back up a little bit. One of the major things that helped me with this move was that I worked from home. If you can find a work from home job and you have children, that alleviates a lot. Like I'm the type of person, I'm very overprotective of my children to this day. So to not have to worry about who's going to watch them. And I know my son was 14 at the time, but at the end of the day, we're in a brand new city. He's a young male. I didn't want him getting any trouble. I didn't want him, you know what I'm saying? So working from home really helped me with my move. I had already been working for Hyatt hotels for about 7 years at that time. No, not 7 years. Might have been maybe about I don't know, maybe about 4 or 5 years at that time. I had already been working for Hyatt. So I already was working. I never had to have a lapse in work. So that's going to be really, really helpful because you don't have to worry about looking for a new job. You just basically take your equipment to the new house and set it up and start working. You probably really could work, if you plan it out right, can keep working your normal schedule, or take a few days off for the move and then get right back to your regular schedule program. It alleviates having to find childcare because your kids are at home with you. And for me, they offered a lot of overtime in the summertime, and we moved in the summertime. So the extra money that I needed, because I was moving to a larger, more expensive city, I was able to work and get it at home. And so that really helped to make a smooth transition. And then after about a month of living in Charlotte, my cousin let me know about something that was new that they were trying here in the city, and it was called Uber Eats. So Uber Eats, everybody knows what that is now, but at the time it was new, and I had, she explained to me how it works. When I tell you, that was a game changer for me because I had never seen anything like it, right? So by the time I found out about it, the overtime at my job had kind of decreased, right? So of course I still needed the extra money. So when my cousin told me about this, I put it on my phone and I just let it sit there for a minute. You know what I'm saying? I never really, because I'm like, kind of nervous about that. You don't know the city. So how am I going to, not realizing that the instructions, the directions will be in there for you. But it was something new. So I waited. And then, like I said, when the overtime decreased with my job, I said, let me go ahead and see what this is all about. When I tell you, the first weekend I went out, I got me and the kids in the car. I told them what we were going to do. That's another thing. I was able to it was something, I didn't have to look for a part-time job to leave my kids at home. It was something that I could do and take my kids with me. So I tells the kids, I said, okay, y'all, we're going to get in the car. We're going to go get something to eat. We might have got Chick-fil-A or something so that they could eat in the car. I said, we're going to go out for a couple hours and we're going to do orders. So they're all excited because at this point we're getting out the house. We're going to go, see what this is about. They don't really know, but you know what I'm saying? They just know we're getting ready to be on the go. When I tell you I made over $200 that night in about 3 hours, I was like, wait a minute. What is this again? So after that, it started to be like an every weekend thing. Like if we weren't doing something around the city, like, that would be the extra money. And so it was like overtime for what at that point? So it was really helpful that I was able to pick up a second source of income that I didn't have to worry about, and then too, I learned the city that way. That's the way I learned the city. And so, and it was just like, to me, it was just like a great opportunity because I didn't have a boss. It was like, you can cut your app on when you want, you turn it off when you want. So it ended up working out that I worked from home, and then I made my extra money with Uber Eats. And I mean, it was consistent for a really long time. Whenever I needed any money, whenever I wanted to travel, anything, I just, went out and did some orders. And like I said, at the same time, learned the city. And, life was sweet. So I'm saying all of this to say, if you're thinking about moving or relocating to somewhere else, there is a way to do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying just pick up and move, but I'm just saying don't let because really the first thing that can hinder you is your mind. If you say, oh, it's too much, everything costs too much, I ain't gonna be able to make it, I'm not gonna know anybody, then you're gonna stop the mission before it even starts. Like I said, I was kind of forced out, but I'm glad everything worked out the way that it did, so I can come here and tell you that it can be done and how it can be done. These are just some examples. Now, I will tell you this too. When you relocate, especially if you're moving from a small city to a larger city, you have to be ready to work. Nothing's going to be handed to you. It's not going to be, just easy peasy every day, all day. You have to be ready to work. But most of us are already doing that anyway for another company anyway. So it's better to do it and be where you want to be versus doing it and wondering what it would be like to be where you want to be, if that makes any sense. You have to fix your mind first, and then everything else will fall into place. I'm telling you, God will already have it figured out. Literally. He just needs you to make a move. I think I moved to Charlotte with like $4,000 that I had saved up in like a month and a half before I moved here. It wasn't tax time. I literally had to grind it out to move, and it worked out. I had enough pretty much for my security deposit and first month's rent. And after that, it was go time. I always tell my mom this story because when I moved to Charlotte, it was her, one of my cousins, and my stepfather who helped me move. And I was like, they stayed for maybe about a day, helped me unpack a few things, and then when it was time to go, of course we gave our hugs and everything, kisses and everything, and they were about to go. And as soon as they left and I closed the door, I turned around and was like, oh crap, I'm really here in this city with my kids by myself. And I mean, when I tell you, I only had that thought for like 2.3 seconds, because as soon as I had that thought, my mind got into grind mode. Like, okay, I started unwrapping my computer, making sure that my work computer was set up and ready to go. Like I didn't have time to sit around and really worry about it. And because I'm like, now it's getting ready to, I have real bills now. Like coming from I think my rent was like double, but that's another thing that I did too. Side note, I started decreasing my bills when I knew I was going to move. So like, for instance, instead of cable, because I had always had cable, my kids always had cable. So one of the things I did, I cut that out, and I did like internet TV, like Roku sticks and Amazon Fire Sticks, things like that, when I first moved, which mostly everybody has that now. But that was one bill that I alleviated. Then I think I might have had a contract with my cell phone. I can't even remember. This was like almost 8 years ago, but I had maybe T-Mobile. So I took that off, and then I ended up getting what's it called? Metro PCS. I think at the time it was Metro PCS. And so that kind of cut my cell phone bill in half, if not a portion of it. And so a lot of things like that, for instance, I said, since my rent is going to be more, then I would have to decrease some of my other convenient, bills that I have for convenience. But again, everything worked out. I didn't have to stop watching shows. I just watched them on a streaming stick. I didn't have to not have a cell phone. I just paid, instead of, $100 and something, me and my son had a phone, and I think it might have been $35 each, $50 each, something like that. So it cut that in half. So, I mean, those are little things that you can do to prepare to move. All I'm trying to say here, all in all, is just do it. Okay? There's a whole world out here that God wants us to explore. That's why He made it. You are not a tree. You can move. All right, y'all. I just wanted to share that with you guys while I'm sitting here. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe, because I'm going to keep these videos coming. I want to help whoever I can, however I can. Talk to y'all later. Bye.